Hi students, so you're working on the mystery of the locked cupboard. You can work through this investigation for homework. So we can read through the introduction. It should be pretty self-explanatory. Here we have the list of suspects. And for the first clue, we're looking at arranging the numbers from smallest to largest. So on the left-hand side, we start with the smallest numbers, and on the right-hand side, we'll start with the largest numbers, or finish with the largest numbers. Once you identify the largest number, in this case, it's the 5,250. That would be the one on the extreme right-hand side. That's the largest number. You will then use that number to identify the first word of the clue. And in this case, the first word of this clue will be the. Work through the other challenges here to identify the clues. Okay, that's what you do for clue number 1. Okay, for clue 2, you need to identify whether the sequences are in fact correct. If there's a mistake in the sequence, we're going to tick X. If the sequence makes sense, we will tick. At the end, then we tally up the amount of ticks versus the X's and apply the criteria to solve the clue. I will do the Roman numeral one for you, as we haven't covered that. XE represents 100. X represents 9 in Roman numerals. We haven't covered this content yet. It's not on the grade 6 curriculum. And LXXI is, in fact, the Roman numeral for 91. So this does make sense. This is correct, and we can tick this off. Again, tally all the ticks and X's and follow the instructions to identify what the clue tells you here. Now we're on to the next clue, where we have to match the underlined value to the symbol in the grid below. So the first one has 8 in the tenths column. So where do I find that? It's here. So 8 tenths gives me the word the. So the first clue is the. I'll have a look at the second one. It's 5 in the hundredths. 5 in the hundredths. So where's 5 in the hundredths? Down here. Here it is. Now, that doesn't make sense. So maybe I'm working in the wrong direction. I think I am. I think I need to work from top left-hand side to the bottom and then double back to the top, because the doesn't make sense. So how about I try this one? This is 8 this time it's in the thousands column, and the keeper. Okay, now I have a sentence structure that starts to make sense. So I'm going to identify the keeper is probably the order of the clue that I need to identify. So the keeper, and I would look at my next clue down on that hand side and try and identify what it is. So I'm looking here next, and I'm working from top left downwards, and then eventually over to the top right and downwards to the bottom to identify the clue. The last piece is a division grid, and we have to find where we would identify the correct divisors or quotients. So what divided by what would give me a 120? So I'm thinking, what can I divide into one of these numbers that would go 120 times? I'm looking for maybe a multiple. Oh, here's a multiple of 120. So it's 120,000. What would I multiply by 120,000 to get, what would I multiply 120 by to get 120,000? And the answer is 1,000. So where these two numbers intertwine or intersect, that's the letter that I would identify. In this case, it's the letter I. So here I'm going to write in the letter I. Now 20, what divided by what gives me 20? Let me look around. Maybe 50 divided by 1,000. Would that give me 20? Yes, it would. So I think the letter I'm looking for here is T. Continue through all of the clues until you solve this part of the mystery. Ultimately, by the time you finish clue 4, you should have identified eliminated all of the suspects who did not do this crime, and then you can identify who was the culprit. Good luck and enjoy, and remember, do what you can in the time allocated.